Hey guys, this is Wonder from TeamLiquid, and I'm here with AdreN. How are you doing?
Pretty good, man.
So you guys got knocked out, unfortunately, in the second day. Can you just walk us through the tournament?
Tournament's been really nice. Tight little place. They have refreshments for everything, and
Yeah.
it's going pretty well for everyone. Unfortunately, our results weren't that good, but it's a great event.
So let's talk a little bit about the kind of NA shuffle that took place, last week. Hiko talked about forming the super team with, Skadoodle, and he mentioned three guys from Liquid as well. So now that the plans have kind of fallen through, what's kind of the plan for Liquid now, moving forward?
So the super team was like super. It was kind of put together like very last second.
Right.
Hey, we could maybe form this team. It wasn't like in
It
talks
wasn't
for months.
right. It wasn't like a master plan.
Right. It literally happened like 3 days before
Sure,
it got off release. So
Sure.
nothing crazy there. We're just trying to improve the roster the best we could. Going forward, not really sure what Team Liquid's going to do. We might keep our five now. We might make a change. Nothing is even close to being confirmed. You know what I mean? So we don't even know. Who we'd want to get or anything right now.
Sure. So before, when Liquid was first formed, it was Daps in-game leading, and you were sort of concentrating on AWPing. But at this event, I think you were sort of sat in the middle. Are you trying to take over the in-game leader role now?
Yeah, we actually swapped like literally one day before we came to the event. We swapped to me
Sure.
in-game leading, and Daps was definitely still helping me, trying to give out ideas. Our T-sides were absolutely horrible this event. Nothing was going our way. Our defaults just did not work on any of the maps. And in NA, the default worked every single round. So if you don't know what's wrong, you can't fix it. So,
That's yep.
just a crucial part of our T-side just was, just didn't work for us.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the NA scene in general, I guess. So I don't know if you kept up, but the past couple of days, Steel and Moses did a kind of impromptu, let's say, intervention with Tarek on stream,
Okay.
and they kind of just went through CLG's problems, and lots of people are kind of saying like that's the problem with the NA scene in as a whole, or is it just CLG? Did you manage to catch any of that?
I did not know.
Okay, so essentially what happened was, they went through their games in Katowice and also talked to Tarek like one-on-one about, what they could improve. And one core problem was demo reviews, essentially. Right. And Tarek basically said like, yeah, now we're going to start reviewing demos, and people were kind of shocked because aren't you kind of, as a team,
Right.
isn't the your core, how you improve just reviewing demos naturally. So as Liquid, do you guys, is it one person who reviews demos? Do you review demos as a team? How does it work?
We do both actually. We've already rewatched the VODs
Okay.
this weekend already. We
Cool.
watched, all sat down as a team and watched and pointed out our issues. Who's messing up, what do we need to adjust. Where there's gaps in the communication. We definitely watch our VODs together as a team at the events after we, are done playing.
Yeah.
Online, it's kind of hard. We have set up sometimes where we privately streamed, and like for example, our coach has privately streamed, and we've watched a match VOD together, or even like scouted out another team together. So I definitely think it helps, and we do it.
So talking about Liquid as a team, you brought in a Liege now, and of course you still have sort of Naf on the bench, and Mignati as well. Where do you see each player's role sort of solidifying as you move forward? Are you gonna try and stick with in-game leading? Are you still AWPing?
As of right now, I am in-game leading and opping, which is kind of tough to do. I didn't really opt too much this event, but obviously CT side opping is pretty easy for any player can pick it up and do it.
Sure.
It's just really that T side opping where I'm trying to control people and get to a goal that I'm always not going into sites opping as aggressively.
Right.
So I don't know what we're gonna do yet in the future, but in terms of the other roles, I think it's pretty solidified in terms of Elige being the first in, Nitro being like the second, third in, and Fugly is our lurk. So
Right.
everything's pretty solidified except for the in-game lead and the op, I guess.
Okay.
But I'll probably stick with in-game leading regardless of if I op or not.
Okay. Yeah, because I know when you were, back on AWPer, when you first, went to denial and then liquid, you kind of said in-game leading and opping is really hard. And
Yeah.
to be fair, it is obviously.
Yeah.
But and you wanted to focus more on opping. So now that you've tried that and sort of had to go back to in-game leading, do you think you're gonna try and maybe pick up another AWPer to so that you can focus more on one singular role?
Right. I think it's a tough thing to really think about right now because I don't think there's many great ops.
Right.
And I think that's why Skadoodles,
Yeah.
he was so wanted from pretty much every top team is because he is a clear top opper.
Yeah.
And right now I think it's really tough to, really find another really great opper. You'd have to be like, just risking picking someone up and hoping they're great. You know
Liquid
what I mean?
Mo maybe.
But yeah, so
Okay.
it's tough right now.
Okay. So let's talk a little bit about the ESL Pro League that just got announced and starting really, really soon. So, there were talks about the Super League and then it got kind of delayed a little bit, but then it finally came out. And I talked to Cadian about the EU teams and basically they were just 12 straight invites. And same with NA. I don't know if you've checked out the full team list yet, but how do you feel about 12 teams? Because I think ESEA invite used to be like 8 or 9 teams,
Yeah, it was
right?
9 or 8, yeah, something like that.
Yeah, so now there's 12 teams, and some of them are.
Yeah, it does make it less
haven't
prestigious now.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, how do you feel about the league in general and some of the teams in there?
I mean, obviously the league, it's obviously better. There's more money going into it. The LAN finals is going to be a lot better now, being in LA. So a lot more exposure in every way. But yeah, I mean, to get 12 teams in NA, for example, is really tough. So I think ESEA did move up the teams that were in Premier, which is the league below invite.
Right, yeah.
So I mean, that's the best way to do it. So can't really complain too much.
Okay.
But yeah, they're not really like professionals, I guess you would say. You know what I mean?
Okay, so we'll talk a little bit about the finals, the offline stages of the ESL Pro League. So they announced that there would be 4 NA teams and 4 EU teams, and of course the EU scene got a little bit angry because there's 500,000 up for grabs. And what do you think about this split? Obviously ESL's partnered with ESEA, so there's some precedent of having a bit of an equal NA representation. But do you think it should have been weighted a little bit towards EU, maybe 5 or 6 teams, or do you think 4-4 is totally fine?
I think it's tough just because it's going to put so much pressure on the online play.
Right.
It's kind of hard,
For
only
the
4
EU
teams.
and everything.
Exactly, yeah, to have only 4 teams go. Those online matches are going to be super important for those teams now. And online play, not really the most serious, environment you want for all these important matches. In terms of only 4 EU teams compared to 4 NA, it's great for NA scene to obviously improve and whatnot. Obviously, the NA teams are not quite there yet, but hopefully it helps push.
Okay.
But, I mean, yeah. I don't know how else you would do it, because if you do like 6 EU teams and only 2 NA, it's
kind of
really
awkward
tough.
being in LA. Like, come and see the 2 NA teams, and then it's kind of like I don't know.
It's tough, yeah.
Okay. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the online leagues and then how they transition into offline sort of tournaments. So the past few weeks there's been event after event. Sure, like not all of them have been in NA or whatever, but a lot of them have been kind of smaller events, like 4, 6, 8 team kind of events. And that kind of, how do you feel about that size event in general? Like, here in FACEIT now there's only 8 teams, but it's still a 3-day event. How do you feel about that in general?
I like it. Obviously the big events are nice, like ESL One Cologne, where there's a big stadium, all the fans, but I have no problems with tiny, small events that are pretty much just for the players. So, be a good treatment, and the LANs ran well, so I don't know. I think it's nice.
Okay, cool. I guess we should probably wrap it up soon. Do you have any last words or shout-outs?
Just thanks to Liquid and shout outs to our sponsors. Got a lot of them, so
You can show your shoulders and
boom. Alienware, HTC, G2A, HyperX,
Quest.
Razor, and Namecheap. Thanks, guys.
All right, thank you.